Hey guys, Ben here from Velflex. Now, one of those common questions that we always get is how do I stop scorch marks, okay? That's when the garment itself has changed color or you can see where the heat press plate was on the garment, and let's be honest, none of us want to walk around with a heat mark on the left-hand chest of their polo or shirt where a transfer has been applied. We want a garment to look natural as possible. Now, we need to ask ourselves first off what type of fabric it is, and is it a scorch mark or a heat mark that you can see on a natural fabric, okay? Because that's more likely just moisture coming out of the garment, and typically over the course of a day that moisture will sort of come back into the fabric and it'll go back to the right colour. Take any moisture out, it'll usually go lighter, just like if you wet a cotton t-shirt or wet a natural fabric, it'll go darker in colour while that moisture's there. So guys, if it's natural, often it's just moisture, and those ones are easier to handle, that sort of thing. Guys, if we want to get away from heat marks though, right, what we've got to think about is pressure and temp and things like that. So pressure, if we're using any base pads and things like that, like here, I've placed this pad down, I'm doing a little transfer on the left-hand chest up here, okay? Just remember, if I pull this press down, you know, and I haven't got this, and I've got a pressure of, it says 5, let's say, let's just say that corresponds to 10 kilos of pressure. Okay, if I take this little pad and I put it here for the left chest and I lock the pressure down, okay, if it's pneumatic, you're doing 5 bar of pressure, let's say, all of that pressure that's on the mechanics and everything, and it's all in the pull down, is now isolated to a really small area. That means it's focused. That's 5 bar of pressure or 10 kilos of pressure focused into a much smaller area, which is going to really squash that fabric, okay? You are going to get a heat mark from that. So heat marks, when using pads, which are very much pressure-related heat marks, we've got to really consider that we've got to drop the pressure back, because if we don't, we're focusing it all in such a little area. So if I normally press with 5 bar on a big plate, I'd be pressing with 2 or 3 bar on a small plate, okay? So that's a pressure one, okay? Next one, too much heat. If you're too hot, you're going to scorch the fabric, okay? Now this is in almost always when it's like a cool dry polyester or you've got synthetics and things. If it's too hot on synthetics, you're almost starting to melt it, or it's starting to shine up because you're changing the characteristics of the fibers, okay? So guys, we've got to be really conscious and think about that too much heat, too much pressure is causing this, and how do we get around it? Now, I always think if we can lower the temp or lower the time down, cool, let's try that and maybe do 2 presses, okay? 2 shorter bursts of press, okay? Can still get the transfer to apply really well, but we can reduce those scorch marks, okay? So I'm thinking, can I reduce my time? Can I reduce my temp? Still get a perfect application, still melt the glue, but be removing that heat mark that I'm getting. Now, if that doesn't work, you can't do that, it's not possible to do that, the garment is shining up a lot or it's changing, you're getting your scorch marks, little tip and trick that I had all those years ago, right? We want to make sure that we're getting a good long press to bond the glue. If you can get a 2-second application just to get the transfer to stick and you're able to get the carrier off, okay, if it's hot peel and you can get the carrier off, what we can do is we can do, say, a 2-second press. I'm going to show you this. 1, 2, we'll go 3, pop, peel the carrier, okay? Now on a cotton though, 3 seconds, that's not long enough for me to know, yep, it's definitely stuck down. And let's just say 3 seconds was good enough. I didn't get too much of a mark, but I want to give it another press just to make sure it's really bonded on there. Cool, grab the shirt, and you can do this afterwards, but feed it on inside out, okay? Slide it in, just like that. Now my transfer is behind here, it's on the inside of the actual shirt, okay? So the transfer and the outside of the garment not gonna touch the top plate. I'm gonna pull this down and I'm gonna give this the full 8 seconds. It's 4 seconds there, but just say I wanted to give it a full 8 seconds. because that's the temp, time, pressure that I want to get into that transfer for it to stick to this particular garment, I could do it. And you're right, I'm going to get a scorch mark, but I'm going to get a scorch mark or a heat mark on the inside of the fabric, and it's not going to be on the outside. So when I then turn the garment inside out, back again the right way, my garment's going to look great. And I can tell you the time again that we've done this, particularly on polos and things like that, cool, dry garments. And although it's a bit of a pain, it is a saver because the garments look great and you've got a really good press to make sure that that glue washes. Now guys, if that's not an option and you've got an application pad, which is one of these things here, okay, an application pad is designed to stop scorch marks. Okay, it's designed to almost make your heat press, which is a pan sear or a fry, right? It's designed to stop the actual heat scorching the fabric and designed to let the heat through slowly so that you can still get the temperature, the time, the pressure into the transfer, but the fabric itself hasn't been scorched. It's heated up slowly. So let's just say here, I'm doing this garment right now. I've already pressed the transfer on, but let's just say I put the transfer down like this. Cool, over the top. I then take my application pad. I'm laying it down over the top, and you want to make sure that you cover the entire shirt itself, okay? You want to also make sure that when you place that down, you don't move your transfer, okay? Because you've lined that transfer up, but as soon as you lay this down, you know, you don't want it to move, okay? So we've laid that over the top, cool. And now we press. Now this is really important. You can check out another video on the application pad and how to use it best, but an application pad is an insulator and it's stopping that heat from getting through to the garment. It takes about 10, 15 seconds, okay, for it to really start heating up the transfer. So if I'm wanting to do a 10-second press, it's 10 seconds plus the 15 that you need for here. So I'm at like a 25-second press, okay? Now when I pull that down, cool, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna change my time to 25 seconds. Cool. Okay, when I pull this down and press 25 seconds, cool, okay, so we're down now, 5, 4, 3, 2. We've got to be really careful. This is very hot, okay? So we peel this away like that, and then we're going to get the carrier and we're going to peel the transfer straight away. Guys, be really careful with these. They get extremely hot. They hold a lot of the temp, so you want to make sure you grab the corner that's off, peel it off really quick. Don't throw it over your shoulder. Don't try to hold it. It's extremely hot if you hold any of the inside, but that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to absorb that heat, allow it to get through slowly, and it's about the only thing that certain garments that we've pressed in the past that we just could not get around scorch marks other than folding inside out and pressing from the inside was to use this. Makes the press a little bit longer, but it does stop those scorch marks. It stops the reactive heat mark on certain fabrics. Cool dries and really sensitive active wear garments and things like that in particular, that there is really good for. Guys, if you've got any other questions on scorch marks, how to get rid of them, how not to have them, reach out to us, more than happy to help.